tomorrow the rookies will be reporting for training camp, and we got one more video after this one for breaking down the camp battles. What is up, Finn fans? Talking about the cornerbacks today. Got a few of them, some big names, some not big names, but again, that's what this is all about. Getting you guys kind of introduced and up to date on who's on the roster, as well as talking about some of those battles that, you know, going under the radar that are going to be kind of important. So let's jump into this. And then one of you guys had a fantastic comment of the day. So again, comment of the day is usually afterwards. So let's jump into this again. I think that there's not a long list of corners, so I'll be able to pop it up. And we'll run down it, and then I'll kind of dissect each of the guys. So we have Elijah Hamilton, our boy Xavier Howard, Noah Igbinoghene, Byron Jones, Cater Coho. I probably butchered that. Nick Needham, Trill Williams, Elijah Campbell, Keon Crossan, D'Angelo Ross, and Quincy. Now, looking at this list of corners, there's some good ones. Some good ones in there. And there's some that you're just like, you can be competing to make this roster. So again, I'll start at the top of the list. We'll head to the bottom. We'll give you guys some stats and all that stuff if I have it on some of these guys. So Elijah Hamilton was an undrafted free agent this past year. He's going to be one of those guys that is going to be competing to make this roster. Again, if you're a linebacker, if you're a corner, if you're a safety, if you're a wide receiver, running back, literally probably all these positions besides, I would say, like defensive line and offensive line and quarterback, you want to make the roster. Special teams. If you can't break this, the starting position, which again, I'll talk about who I predict to be starting, and I have a video breaking down the depth chart. Special teams is your best friend. So that's Elijah Hamilton, undrafted free agent. I'm not saying he's not going to make the roster, but it's probably a long shot for him. Xavier Howard just got a new contract extension. Give you some stats on him this past year. Again, this past year wasn't his best. Obviously, the best year he had was 2020 when he had 10 interceptions. But this past year he had he allowed 48 of 84 targets, which is 51.1% reception. He allowed 717 yards, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. When targeted, he allowed a passer rating of 88.2, and he had 7 pass breakups. Xavier Howard is top 10, in my opinion, top 5 cornerback in the NFL. Very happy that they locked him down for, I think it's like the way his contract structured, I think it's like another 2 years we have him locked down. Again, go back and watch the video where I break down his contract. Love it. People call me a Tua stan, which fantastic. Call me whatever you want. I'm an Xavier Howard stan. You guys know I've been defending him, and a lot of people are saying, oh, we got to get rid of Xavier Howard, he's not doing much, and blah blah blah. And I was always like, are you kidding me? This guy, you target him. The interception against the Ravens, the interception against the Bills, the interception against the Falcons, the man is just consistently making the most ridiculous interceptions. One of the best corners in the league. Then we have Noah Igbinoghene, first round pick in 2020. Very surprising pick. Again, I keep reiterating this. Now, do I think he's a bust? He's heading towards that way. But we'll see what he does this year. But when the Dolphins traded back with the Packers, I'm thinking running back. We're thinking safety. There's so many possibilities. And then Noah Igbinoghene. If you go back and watch my 2020 draft live stream, or I think I even have the reaction, so you don't have to watch the whole 4 hours or whatever. My reaction is, who? I didn't. Noah Igbinoghene. I wasn't even prepared for the Dolphins to take a corner with Xavier Howard, Nick Needham, and Byron Jones there. He's an uphill battle. He needs to, especially when it comes to preseason, he has to show that he's worthy of staying on this roster. He played one game, the Jags game in London. I think Xavier Howard and Byron Jones weren't playing that game. He allowed 5 catches on 7 targets. Not good. 71.4%. He allowed a touchdown, and when he was targeted, the passer rating was 139.3. It's not good. We'll see if it changes. We'll see, if he gets better. But Noah's one of those guys that might be competing to make the roster. Now, I know Chris Greer doesn't, he doesn't like giving up on his draft picks and doesn't want to. It takes him a while to admit defeat. But we'll see about that one. Then we have Byron Jones, the opposite of X. He restructured his contract to give the Dolphins a little bit more cap space. They essentially took some of his contract and then made it signing bonus. He allowed 54 on 86 passes, 62.8%. He allowed 655 yards, only 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. When he was targeted, 97.8 passer rating, and he had 10 pass breakups. So comparing him to X, right? He was targeted 2 more times than X. X was targeted 84 times. Byron was targeted 86 times. Byron gave up more receptions, but less yards, if that makes any sense, right? So again, targeted 86 compared to Howard's 84. Howard allowed less receptions, 48 to Byron's 54. But Howard allowed more yards at 717 compared to Byron Jones' 655. And X allowed more touchdowns compared to Byron, 7-3. So Byron was targeted more because they were afraid of X, but by two targets, nothing big. But Byron allowed less touchdowns and less yards. By, I think it's 72 yards, he allowed less and 4 touchdowns. But Byron, X got his 5 interceptions and better passer rating when targeted. People throwing some disrespect out there to Byron Jones, not understanding how good he is. And the 1-2 tandem with him and X, still like it a lot. Am I prepared for the Dolphins to now start to look towards their replacements? Because the way I see it, X and Byron, at some point, maybe in 2 years, maybe in another year, 2023, 2024, we got to find their replacements, right? And that's where hopefully Tua pans out to be the quarterback we need, because we have 5 picks in the first 3 rounds. We can get some corners with those, because that's going to be the next need as we start to move on. Then we have Cater Coe, undrafted free agent this past year. We have Nick Needham, who I can see playing the slot with Coleman not being there anymore. He allowed 39 receptions on 54 targets, 72.2% of the receptions. That's not good. 448 yards, no touchdowns allowed, 2 interceptions, 81.4 passer rating when targeted, 3 pass breakups. So better passer rating when he was targeted than Byron. Not as good as X. Actually, better than X's, because X's was 88.2. Nick Needham's going to be our slot corner. I think he's going to thrive there. The thing that I noticed with him and Coleman was the motions would get to them. So they would take the receiver and they would move him from one side to the other, and then sometimes they would do a stop and go, these guys would get either caught up on the linebackers or caught looking in the backfield and mismatch, and then leave this receiver open. So they got to do a little bit better on the motions there. Then we have Trill Williams, who we got from the New Orleans Saints on May of 2021. Claimed him off their waivers. I can see him being really good. I could see him again competing for that 4th spot with Noah Igbenogany. I'm very interested to see what he could do, because he did some really good things in preseason last year. Then Elijah Campbell, he was waived by the Jets, and the Dolphins picked him up in September of 2021. Didn't do much. Keon Crossan, free agent signing from the Giants this past season. Didn't do much when he was with the Giants. Again, who we picked up off of. He's targeted once for 1 game against Dallas. Gave up that reception, 15 yards. It's nothing. Didn't do much. Nothing really to talk about there. Then we have D'Angelo Ross, who was a pickup in January of 2022 from the New England Patriots, who was an undrafted free agent in 2019. And then we have Quincy Williams. Is interesting to me. He went on a little bit of a journey, right? He was a 2nd-round pick to the Indianapolis Colts in 2012. Then he was traded to the Jets. The Jets gave up a 6th-round pick in 2020. Then he was claimed on the Giants practice squad in 2020, and then the Dolphins this past January signed him to a future contract. And now he's with the Dolphins. So looking at the cornerbacks, right? You have Xavier Howard, you have Byron Jones, you have Nick Needham. Those are your starters. Like, those are your locked-in starters. Then you have, like, the guys that are, in my opinion, that are below, right? The second stringers. It's Noah Benogany, Trill Williams, and Keon Crossan, I would probably throw in there as your second stringers. They're even competing, right? To like Keon Crossan, he was a free agent signing. It's not guaranteed he's going to be on the team. Same thing with Trill Williams. Same thing with Noah Benogany. And then you have the guys below them like Quincy Angelo Ross, Elijah Campbell, and Elijah Hamilton. That those are the guys that are really going to be competing. Those were the battle's going to be to make the roster. But for me, the battle that I'm really interested in looking at is Noah, Trill Williams, and Keon Crossan, right? I want to see what Noah can do. I defend Tua, right? And I defend Austin Jackson, and I'm going to be defending Noah equally if they deserve it. Now, Noah just needs a shot. He barely played last year. Like I said, he played one game, wasn't good. I want to see what he can do. I'm not ready to label him a bust, but he's like, he's teetering on the edge of that. But the reason I don't want to really label him a bust is when we took him and the fact that we traded back and got him, right? To me, I'm like, a bust to me is like pick 15 and up. After the mid to late round, first round picks, I guess you can technically call them busts, but it's like to me, Noah Benogany was just like a really fancy second round pick because I think we took him 30th overall. But I want to see what he can do. I want to see what he can. I want to see him on the field. I want to see if he's getting better because I'm seeing a lot of good things. He's working with Xavier Howard. He's trying to get back into shape, and he's trying to show that he wasn't a wasted pick. 30th. Again, for the life of me, I don't understand why the Dolphins took him. Like, no knock on Noah, but he didn't need a corner. He needed other things like a running back. Jonathan Taylor. What could have been. But be sure to comment below. Let me know what you think about the quarterback position. We have safeties. I decided I'm not going to do special teams. There's nothing really much to talk about special teams. So we have safeties next, and then that's it. And training camp starts next Tuesday. That's when the vets are going to be there. Tomorrow I'm going to make a video about the rookies showing up. If there's anything that really needs to be talked about, we don't have many rookies. Again, we have the undrafted free agents, and we have the 4 rookies that we have. Other than that, I don't think they're really going to start anything, even with the vets, until maybe Saturday the 30th. And that is the first day that you guys can go and check them out. But be sure to comment below. Let me know what you guys think. And we get a comment of the day. And again, this comment was very good. And this comment comes from Cliff Grant. And he says, comment of the day. Would today's squad be a Super Bowl contender with 1985 Dan Marino at quarterback? Yes. The odds, because, I think I don't even know what the Dolphins' odds are to make the Super Bowl. It's very big. Put Marino at quarterback, they're like, you wouldn't even bet because it's like, oh, they're going to the Super Bowl. Like this team at the wide receiver position, at the running back position, the defense is just, you put Marino on this team, forget about it. Forget about it. It would be an upset if they didn't, get the number 1 seed. That's how good this team be with Marino at the back. Like, just ridiculous. But again, there's still the offensive line. But Marino, you got Teron Armstead as his blind side. So it's like, and Marino, just quick release, get that ball out quick. Yeah, Cliff, if Marino was the quarterback of this team, I'd bet a lot that they're the number 1 seed. Home field advantage, you get that first round bye, just coasting right into the Super Bowl. Now, nothing's, a sure thing in the NFL. Look at the Titans. They were the number 1 seed. They got whooped. I think the NFC number 1, I think the Packers, same thing. 49ers beat them. Nothing's a guarantee, but this team is just stacked with talent, and then you put Marino at the helm, forget about it. Just forget about it. Comment below. Do you agree with me? But other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Rookies are showing up. Like I said, I'll make a video talking about that if anything happens. all that good stuff. And then I think I'm going to do my last, I think next Monday, the 25th, will be the final camp battle. And then the vets will be in next Tuesday. And then you start to get training camp videos where I break down what happened at training camp on top of a ton of my other content. So see you guys tomorrow. Like usual, stay classy. Friends up.